Hello again. As many of you know, the last year in particular was very difficult for me health-wise. And, not just on a physical level. There are a number of us who lost people that were very close to us within the last year. For the last 15 years of my life, I have worked on the Gossamer Court, building it. And it's not just about the Gossamer Court. There are other things, that have my concern. Back in 1979, a bunch of esoteric hippies got together with me on a beach in Key West, and a lot of this began to come to form. And we did have a leader at that point. His name was Tempest, and he was a little bit crabby, but a wonderful heart, and he really knew how to work the magic. He was definitely more scholarly than I am. So with the problems that I had been having health-wise, especially with my heart, it started to become more and more eminent, or important anyway, that I start to consider having a successor. And, I've never had a problem sharing power. Just as long as people are ethical, they are responsible in what they're doing. So I looked long and hard, and I occasionally would encounter people that I thought, well, they might be right for this job. It's like when people hear certain titles, they think, oh wow, no, I'll grant you, it's a wonderful gig if you can get it. But it's a lot of work. And, it pretty much is my work 24/7 as a shaman, as a spiritual leader, as someone who is building the Gossamer Court or continuing to build it. But, we abolished the position of High Priestess. There were people that had commented to me over a period of time that if we were going to be an affiliation of spiritually inspired artists, then that ruled out religion. Any one person being a high priest or high priestess from this or that, or minister, etc. It so happens, that I am a shaman, and, I'm the co-founder of the Gossamer Court. So initially I was going to leave it to chance with people in the event that anything happened to me to make a selection. But, when you devote so much time to a magical child, as I have with the Gossamer Court, you start to get very paternal. And you want that child left in capable hands. And the way that I'm trying to structure this is it's not just going to be in the hands of one person. Those of you who have worked with me over the years know. I guess they call it that California style where I delegate, but I delegate to people that I know are up to the task, up to the job. Now, I did decide recently, I spent a year pondering and thinking about the possibility of his doing it. He didn't think that he was up to it, but in actuality, a lot of what he does in working with musicians and artists when he's doing his fire art, it basically is on a smaller level, networking in such a way that, hey, he would be very easy to teach. But he was very much afraid that he was not going to be up to, the responsibility. And I do plan to be around for a while anyway, so I can teach him some of the finer points. In his own right, he, is somebody that his friends come to for spiritual counsel. And so my choice for my successor, and some of you will not be surprised, others, will be shocked, and there are any number of reasons, but you have to remember that with Danny Baker, she was the fire marshal of the Gossamer Court at 16 and the fire master when she was 21. So anyway, I have selected Shay Marsh, Little Hawk, and which is what his name means. I'll tell you a story about Shay. He had traumatic brain injury when he was a child. He was 2 years old, and the child safety seat was thrown from the car, and it split, and he sustained, injury to his brain. And in the process of his growing up, he was sent to this institute school for a while, basically to help him with the basics, check writing and stuff like that. And these are all things he has overcome in the most amazing way. But there was a class where they asked, and there were people who were blind and deaf and those that had suffered traumatic brain injury, and they asked Shay, what is it you fear most, of losing senses? And he said, going blind and being deaf. He absolutely loves music, and he loves beauty. And so in the process of his facing that fear, he decided that it would be a good idea to teach the blind archery. To say more about him, he has an air of decency about him that is not put on at all. He has a different way of communicating with people, and there are a lot of folks that miss the point. This is a very intelligent, smart, and witty young man. He is also extremely creative. There aren't a lot of artists that I work with, when I give a suggestion, will actually start doing it, right then, and see how it works out. And if they discover that it's not working out for them, they put it down and pass it on, the supplies go to someone else, etc. You consider, his past and the challenge that he faced. With three-dimensional bow, he was, the West Virginia state champion for 3 years. He's wrestled. He's a blacksmith, a wood carver, a jewelry maker. He plays the ocarina. So he is submerged basically in all of the creative aspects of shamanism. And the thing is, while it's not a requirement for those who are at the helm of the Gossamer Court to be shaman, it's a very important reference point, because the shaman of old, that's what they were about. They were about, expression, sand painting, cave painting, the making and fashioning of instruments, creating language and music. I know in my heart that I have absolutely made the right choice with him. It is my hope that as time progresses and the opportunities present themselves, that he will, take on more and more education in the ecstatic arts. We're trying to do that right now with martial arts and getting him to where he can use that discipline in his fire art and spinning. But you know, it's a very rewarding job. You know, being the king, being the shaman. But it also has its obligations. And I would not have even suggested this to somebody that I love very much. He's an exceptional being. He is my best friend. And he is somebody that walks the walk, and he has great honor. He also is wonderful working with kids, and that is very important. And as time goes on, I'm hoping that more parents will come along that have certain knowledge within the realm of the arts that will be willing to share workshops for the kids where they can learn different things. So, you know, the door is open now, and there's a lot of hope and promise, and there's opportunity. And, you know, with regard to his installation as Crown Prince, that will take place at Wisteria. And I am going to change the structure of the Gossamer Court so it's a co-regency, which means that he, along with members of the council, will make decisions just as I make them. You know, when it's about art, it's not, you know, about life or death. And, you know, I'm always saying a good king neither walks in front of nor behind, but beside the tribe. And this is something that he certainly understands, and I understand it too. You know, there is, I don't know, you know, it seems like a dark time for a lot of people in a lot of ways, but I see rays of hope coming out of that, you know, Pandora's box that seems to have been opened within the last 20 or 30 years. You know, I happen to be one of those people that believes that, you know, life didn't always suck. And, you know, you've got to rise above that. And that is something else. I think that Jay Marsh, Little Hawk, is a very inspirational figure. And I think that his being that is going to be very important, especially for those who are truly in need of healing through art and passing on that knowledge. So I hope that people will support my decision on this. You know, it's not really necessary, but it would be nice. And I think you're going to be very pleased with this selection. So anyway, we have a summer ahead, a beautiful season coming to pass, and let's get out there and enjoy it and make things happen. Magic is afoot. You know, be there. This is Hugh Slunberg, the Fairy King, beacon of the Indigos. Have a wonderful life, and thank you for being a part of mine. Namaste.